finally got the opportunity to start our full hydro steering for the KRX. My plan is to mount the orbital valve where the electric power steering motor sits now in its factory location. That way I can tie into the steering stem and everything, so I have factory tilt wheel, factory everything. The only issue we're going to run into is we will have a red light on indicating that our steering is, not functioning, not working, the angles, anyway. So, which is totally fine. It's not connected to the ECM, so we don't have to worry about a limp mode or a loss of power, nothing like that. So, in hopes that this all works out, we can offer a kit, or hopefully we can build some for some other people. And the orbital valve will sit here, and we will basically just run our hoses from there down the tunnel and towards the full hydro ram here. Let me raise this up. Okay, so first of all, this machine is running a 3-inch long travel, 6-inch long travel, 3 inches on each side. And it's also running a 4-inch GDP portal. Now, most of the designs that I'm seeing for the full hydro, they are mounting it here with a bumper. I'm not saying it's a horrible design, it's just not the way I would personally do it. So what we're gonna do is we're mounting our hydraulic ram where the normal winch position would be, and we will tie into our lower control arms, and we'll also tie into these front 2 bottom bumper bolts. Some issues that we wound up with trying to get it done. We ended up taking the entire portal housing and everything from this side, taking it to that side so that we can get our steering in the front instead of in the rear. Do I know if this is going to work or not? I do not. At this point in time, I do not plan to try to box these in or do anything. I really want to try to make this function, make sense, and actually be affordable for everyone to be able to do this. So if you haven't noticed already, we've had to move the brake from the rear to the front with the caliper just because, well, for one, that's the stock original positions in the front. So, but with us running the long travel and the portals, the issues that I've ran into is, of course, brake lines, which that's an easy fix, whether it's an extension or a new brake line, doesn't matter. So that was pretty simple. Where this plans to sit isn't going to be 100% true to where the knuckle is setting, but I think it's going to be such a slight degree that it's not going to matter. This is a 9-inch travel ram. No, this is not a PSC ram. No, this is nothing fancy. I literally built this kit as affordably as possible. So it'll just have some short stubs here. We're going to run this vertical. That way it's got travel with the suspension. And then of course this one we can't really do much with, but it's going to have plenty of travel. We've already jacked it up, measured it out, and it'll just have, basically these are a 3/4 inch heim with a 3/4 inch weld bung, and then this fits 1.25 inch DOM pipe, 120 wall. So we'll build them out for this, and it should go, knock on wood, we've ran into some problems. I spent a whole day mismatching portals and trying to decide how I wanted to do it, and taking A-arms off and trying to decide where I was going to mount it and where I liked it. But I want this to be a clean, simple, and the only thing you should notice is going to be the ram and maybe the pump hanging off the side. Other than that, you'll never know that it's not a factory setup. So we're going to take our time and do it as clean as possible. And then this side will just match that side. So the portal is going to be running in reverse. So forward's going to be reverse. It's not going to matter. They're designed the same to run reverse or forward. It's not going to make a difference. I'm sure everyone's going to say, oh, well, if you run the portal backwards, it's going to set your axle back. And no, it don't. It is true one way as it is the other. The only difference is the front of the portal housing bubbling out this way versus a flat side on this side. And then the fun part, so what I wound up doing was I bought a alternator kit. It is a external alternator, ran off a belt for the motor. That way, I don't know, lights, whatever crazy things you want to do there. But we're not going to run a alternator pump. We're going to run a PSC full hydro pump where the alternator is supposed to sit. So the plan and the goal is for us to install this on the side of the engine. About right here is where this pulley mounts, and then it comes with brackets and everything. It'll set about here is where the pump will sit. And then I'm going to run a 4-inch pulley, because my worry is going to be, so this on my Jeep runs 4,500 RPM. That's on the rev limiter. This is 9,000 RPM. So I do not know how this little thing is going to like 9,000 RPM. And then we will also mount our power steering cooler on the inside in front of the engine on the motor mount cross member to the other side. It's the only place I feel like it's out of the way. You can wash the fins out, and this is a whole trial and error thing, so we'll just have to see. And then I'm going to mount my reservoir here. That way, if I do tip it over, I roll, there's this outer bar to where it'll protect it, to where it does not get smashed, broke, anything like that. So we're just going to have one hose that'll run from the top of here, the bottom of the reservoir, to our full hydro pump along the top side of the engine, and there'll be one hose running across the bottom of the skid plate going towards the front. Everything else will be 4 hoses coming from the orbital valve to the pump and to the full, well, the hydraulic ram in the front. So it's definitely, it's not a super difficult job, but I mean, it's more time consuming than everything. You got to strip the machine. I'm excited for it because this machine, since day one I built it, it has been arrogant. So I'm hoping that with the full hydro, and with the full hydro, it gives us many other options. It not only gives us the options of the full hydraulic steering, which this thing has needed since day one, it's also going to give us an option to where we can tie in another valve for rear steer for the rear, if and when we ever decide to do that. At this point in time, I don't really have it planned. Would it be cool? Yes, no. I mean, we're dropping back down to 37, so I don't think it's going to be super wild. Would be nice, yes. Worth it? I don't know. I don't think you're going to get enough turning radius to make it really worth your time. But super excited. I don't think it's going to be as big as a chore as I originally thought. I mean, I've built this thing in my head laying in bed for the last year. So, also, I am using used parts. I'm using an orbital valve off Facebook Marketplace. I'm using pumps that are our old pumps, or pumps that was, you know, they're, you have to buy new? No. Is used going to be the greatest? I don't know. With 3,200 PSI, this thing's going to turn like butter. It's never going to bind up. We'll put some, basically we're going to put some polish rod clamps on the towards the end of the cylinder to use as a bump stop, instead of trying to weld something on the bottom of the A-arm where it tears off and we rip up a boot. So it's going to be a mind-challenging project to do it the way I want to do it. Where I'm at right now, $1,500 to $1,600. So I legitimately think that a kit could be realistically sold in probably like the $3,500 to $3,800 range. That's with all the brackets already built. It'll come prepackaged, just depending on what other problems we might run into or issues. But at the moment, it's not seeming like it's something super wild. The only difference is going to be, you know, factory knuckles. Factory knuckles is going to change a few things, but I mean, we don't know. Maybe we'll find someone that wants to try it. They can bring it to the shop, we can build them one, and just kind of see where it's at. But hopefully the next time you see this thing, it's a little farther, we can at least test it. That should be pretty simple, right? Just snap your fingers and it's over, that quick. Yeah. That's how it works.
Only if it was that easy.
But still in the teardown process, just getting everything out of my way, making it super easy to access everything. I wanted to, my main concern was the pitch here, with it not being 100% square. And if it's not, we can build something on the end of the portal housing. There's all kinds of things. I am just trying to make it realistically usable with what I have to keep it within a realm of reality budget for people. Because I mean, I think this is a super cool opportunity for us as a company, for one, and for two, it gives us an opportunity to prove, you know, that we can think outside the box. The box is box. So, yeah, we'll see where tomorrow brings us. I'm guessing start to finish, realistically, all the time, 30 minutes here, an hour there. 3 days, 3 full days. You know, you can echo the tow truck 3-day thing back there.